Okay, hi Sarah. I think we can just start now. I am. Are you guys ready?
Yes, we are. We are ready. Okay, Shara will share her screen in a bit. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hope our day has started on fine. If you can speak where you are, you can just unmute and say hi so that we are sure that you are here and you're with us.
Hi.
Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, clearly.
Awesome. Okay, hi everyone. Okay, so just before we start, just a bit of interaction so that I'm sure we're carrying everybody along. So today we are discussing the art of mastering defect reporting, right? And I know that this is something that we've been looking forward to for a while, especially if you're in the TVD community. So just before we start, I would like to have like one or two people tell me or tell us what they understand by defects. And then we can take it up from there. So Lolade, you said hi earlier, so if you can go first, Lolade and Akuchi.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. What I understand by defect is what um is an error or what will not make a system to function properly. The what will not make the design to function properly and needs to be reported and to be fixed, and that is actually a bug in a design system.
Thank you very much, Ololade. Hi, Njoko Akuchi. I hope I didn't butcher your name.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, please go ahead.
So sorry, I just joined. I missed the question, I guess.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to know what you think a defect is, or what your idea of a defect is, and then we can start after you.
Okay, so a defect is a bug or I say an anomaly in a system or an app or whatever we're testing.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, guys. I just wanted to make sure that we are here and I have everybody's attention. Sophie, I see that your hand is up. Assuming you want to make a contribution.
Yeah, I wanted to say that just to repeat, like I think in this scenario, like the defect is referring to may also be a bug, so something that is not working as it should or as expected. Then second thing I wanted to say was that I think you had asked Njoku to speak, but so someone else. So
yes, I noticed that Njoku shied away.
Okay. I was wondering if there was a mix-up here.
No, it wasn't. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you for responding. At least I know that I have everybody's attention now. So we're all correct, right? We are all correct as to what we think our defect is. And go to the first slide. So right here we have defined what a defect is, and if you notice, everybody here on the call gave the idea of a defect, which can be summarized as to what we have on this slide, right? So we have here a defect in simple terms is a flaw or an error in an application that's restricting the normal flow of an application by mismatching the expected behavior with the actual one, right? So I'm going to assume that we are all software testers on this call. So at the beginning of every project, we have we receive our pre-business requirement documents, right? It specifies what the application is supposed to do. It specifies what the project is supposed to be about, right? And at the end of the application, when we are testing it, the app is supposed to do something and it's not doing what it's supposed to do, right? We refer to it as a defect, just to give you like an overview, an idea of what a defect is, right? You can refer to defects as bug, issues, glitches. And it's also something that you can find at different, stages of this development life cycle. It could be found at the initiation design stage, at the testing stage, at UAT, after it has gone to the end users. We can find defects at any of these stages. Just before we also get deeper into defects, I also wanted to stress the importance of starting defect testing or software testing at the beginning of the software testing lifecycle. I think this is also what we call shift-led testing, right? Where we bring in testers right from the requirement gathering phase. So we're not just waiting for when we started testing or when the developers have started pushing out code or when the product is ready. From when the business or when the product has an idea that, okay, I want to push out this product. This is what I want to do. I want to put out an application that would, help users transfer money between Nigeria and other countries or within Nigeria. Once you have that idea, right, you should also be thinking of bringing in software testers to that project from the beginning. So you're not waiting to the end of the project. You're not waiting to, when the project has gone too far, right? So that there are a lot of things that you can also catch right from the requirement gathering while you're reviewing your documentation and the tester. You're noticing things and you're like, oh, okay, no, from my experience, I don't think that this should be this way. I think that we should, change the flow to this way. So that before you get to the testing stage, you've saved the business a lot of money, you've saved them time, and you've brought out very important points before you get to that stage. Right. Next slide, sir. Okay, so one thing that's also very important with regards to defects is if our software testers, there's also something we call defect lifecycle, right? So basically, it's just a set of procedures that surrounds, how you define a defect to the end of a defect, right? So I have here is software testing. Defect lifecycle is a specific set of status or that defines the defect or bugs and the entire life process that it goes through from initiation to when it's fixed, right? So the purpose of the defect lifecycle is to standardize and coordinate the defect management process. So it ensures that teams can manage and resolve them more effectively. So imagine that you don't have a defect lifecycle, you just find a defect, you're not sure what the next thing is, you're not sure who you're supposed to reach out to, you're not sure at what point you're supposed to retest the defect. You just, find the defect and then there's no proper way of organizing that this defect is properly fixed, right from when you found it to when it is being fixed. So we're going to be discussing the defect lifecycle explicitly in the next slide. Okay, so we have this very nice diagram that we put together here to just take you from the flow of when you find a defect, right? And then when the defect is being fixed. So just before we go through the flow, I'm just going to give us an overview, right? So the first phase, normally a tester finds a defect. Of course, we are all QA testers here. You know that it's the job of a tester to test the application, review it end to end, check everything, scatter it, and then make sure that you are finding everything that's supposed to be found in defect. So a tester finds a defect, right? And then you assign the defect. That's the stage where you have as new. So the new stage is the stage where you find a defect. It is assigned the status as new, right? And then after that, you find a defect. Normally or technically, you're assigning your test manager is reviewing that defect to ensure that that's actually a defect, right? Just to take us back when we recently had, the beta test that we did in the community, right? If you realize after everybody sent in their defect reports, we had a test manager or a project manager at that particular point that was reviewing all the defect that was shared. Because of course, at the end of the day, not everything that you found are defects. Some things are clarifications. So we are not just going to put everything on our, test report and say, oh, these are all the defects that are found. So that's why we have, somebody reviewing all those defects to be sure that this is a defect and then, this is not a defect, right? We'll get to that stage where we are listing out things that are not a defect and a defect. Elizabeth, sorry, just to bring to your attention, I think that we have a couple of people in the waiting room.
Yeah, I already admitted them.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Right. Okay, so we're just going to go through this flow together, right? So the first stage here, a tester finds a defect and then, assigns the status new. That's like we said, right? And then it goes to the development manager that analyzes the defect. It tells you if it's a valid defect, if it is not a valid defect, if it is in scope. Now, if it is valid defect, if it is a valid defect, right, we take it to say, okay, is it in scope, right? Because there are certain things you are testing. So, for example, you have a situation where you're testing an application, and not all of the features of the application are in current scope for that test, right? They've told you that, okay, in the next scope of test, you are going to be testing BVN. but you're testing right now to say that, oh, VPN is not validating, VPN is not taking the normal 11 it's supposed to take. The project manager would say, of course, this is a defect, but is it in scope? No, it is not in scope. So if it's not in scope, you defer it. Deferring means you're taking it to, the next sprint or the next stage of testing, because it's not in scope. I'm not saying that it's not a defect. We're just saying it is not in scope for this current sprint, and we're deferring it. There's also another status called duplicate. So for a lot of projects, there are times you have multiple testers working on a project, and multiple testers will raise the same defect. So even in our last set of tests that we did in our community, multiple people raised the same defect over and over again. We're not just going to keep raising the same thing. You're not just going to keep raising the fact that, oh, users are not logged in like 15 times, right? You just go ahead and say, okay, this is a duplicate, this has been raised before, and it's valid, but it has been raised before, right? And then there's also another one that says rejected. So there are times that you raise a defect, like I mentioned, it might not necessarily be a defect, it might just be a clarification, right? So you're suggesting to the business, okay, I think you should do this flow this way. I think that this flow should not follow this way. You're not raising it as a defect. It is valid, but it is not a defect. You can just name that as a clarification, or you put it and say, okay, this is a suggestion, and I think that would, improve user experience for this application. So after we go through that particular process of assigning the proper status, right, it goes to the developer, right, and you assign it to the developer. Normally, after it goes through, you confirm if it is actually a valid defect, you assign it to the developer, or your project manager assign it to the developer, because of course there might be different developers working on different flows for that project. And then the next status goes to in progress. This is at the point where the developer started fixing the code. He's the one that's actually putting it in progress, because of course he's the one that would say that he has started working on it or he hasn't started working on it. And then once he's done working on it and he has fixed defect, he changes the status to fixed. And this is the point where the tester comes in. At this point, he probably assigned it to the tester, or he just assigned it to the person that assigned it to him in the first place. And then of course, this is very common again. As a tester, we are retesting the particular defect, right? We are retesting it to see if that particular defect we raised has been fixed or not. If it has been fixed, of course, we change the status to closed. But if it has not been fixed, we retest the defect and the defect is still reoccurring. There are times that you tell I'm sure all of us must have heard of the term is working on my code or my system. Developer fixes it and it's working on its end. We are retesting and it's still not working. We can change the status to reopen, and then it goes back to the flow again to the developer, right? And then it goes back to the flow. And at this point, he's checking to see what exactly went wrong, where exactly the issue is coming from. If it's from his own system, or to just make sure that this, and then we go through the flow again. So basically, it's a cycle. That's why it's called defects life cycle, right? Just go from when we find it to when it is fixed, or when it is reopened, or if it is deferred, right? Also to point out here that one thing that sometimes it's very possible that we forget that some of the defects that we refer to as deferred, because they are not working in this current sprint, it's very possible that we forget, and then we are saying, oh, because it's not working in this current sprint, you just forget about it. No, it's very important that at the end of that particular sprint, those defects that you've deferred, right, you are making sure that at the next sprint, you're bringing it up and you're saying, okay, this, it was the defect for this sprint, and you're ensuring to make sure that they are captured, because it's very possible that all humans, if you don't document it properly, there's a very high chance that you're going to miss it, and you need to make sure that you're capturing it in next sprint and nothing is leaving your eyes. Sarah. So that's basically for the defect life cycle. Just takes you like the whole round of how you are checking these lives. So here we're just talking about bug reporting. I know that this is like the start of the day. The whole essence of this particular session is literally to show us how to properly report a defect. It shows the important columns that we're supposed to report a defect, how to master it, and then making sure that we're putting step-by-step guides so that if anybody picks it up, if Elizabeth picks up my defect report, she understands what I'm trying to say. If anybody picks it up and I look at it, even if I don't understand what that title is, the title is descriptive enough. Once I look at your steps to reproduce, I understand that, okay, yes, this makes sense. This is what this person is trying to talk about. And that's the whole idea of your defect, right? Because you're not the one using it, you're sending it to the project manager, you're sending it to the developer, and they're using your reports to reproduce what you've said so that they can find where the issue is and fix it, right? So basically, a defect report or a bug report outlines the information about the defect. You're putting all the information that would assist or help the developer or the project manager there to retest, to reproduce what you've said, and then find the fix around it. Okay, so here we have some importance of bug reports or the defect reports. But at this point, I'd just like one or two people in the house to, mention what they think are the importance of reporting a defect, because I think that all of us here are testers. So if you can just go right ahead, and then I will just call people randomly to just tell us importance. Felicia, hi. Is Felicia on the call with us? I don't think Felicia is here. Veronica. So this is why I like to call people randomly, so that we are sure that we are
Felicia
carrying
is
everybody
here,
along.
but I don't think she's active.
Yeah, that's why I called her.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Felicia. So I was asking for us to just give us one or two importance of a bug report, or why you think a bug report or a defect report is important.
All right, let others be answering first while I think about it.
Okay. Who would like to go? Gambo Yusuf. Okay, I see people raising up their hand. Amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to go with Jemima. Hi, Jemima.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
good morning.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, one importance of reporting a bug is that it saves the company costs in any case that there might be an event of I use the word fatality.
Mhm.
So if a bug is reported on time, that future problem can be prevented. You save time and you save money as well, and you reduce or remove the possibility of losing customers who might have lost trust in your company because of something
Of
that
that particular
happened.
defect that happened. Awesome. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Jemima. Thanks for your contribution. Hi, Henry. Please go ahead.
Okay. One importance that I know is communication.
Mhm.
A bug report is important to communicate for communication between the developers, stakeholders, the project manager, the testers, like letting them know, okay, these are the issues that we found in the application that we are all working on, and this is being passed to the developer to fix, so everybody knows, okay, these are the issues, and okay, like you said, is this going to be moved to the next sprint? So basically just to communicate like issues going on the application we're all working
On the
on.
application we're working on. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Henry. That was a really good point, communication. I think that's like one of the highlights of reporting a defect. I think I'll just take one more person. Ololade, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good
What
afternoon.
Okay, one of the importance that I like, just like you said about communication, is when a bug is reported in time, we'll be able to know the severity and the priority on the bug, so that we'll know we'll have a focus, direction on what to do in time.
What to do in time. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for responding. So just like Lolade mentioned, one of the items here I have on my list is prioritization, right? So when you raise a defect, of course, you're assigning different priority levels to it. And of course, you're not going to report or go and start fixing a low-level defect before a critical defect. So that's one of the important. So when you report a defect, even if you have like 5 low-level defects or 5 medium defects and just one critical defect, of course, you're going to developer or the business knows that the most important one at that particular stage is to fix the critical defect before we're moving to the other ones that are there, right? We've already mentioned everything here. Ensures reliability and quality of the application. That's like our job basically. It helps developers to identify and fix issues essentially. I think someone mentioned about saving time and cost. I think that's very important. Just to mention, I think I was speaking to someone last week. A founder, he has one of the big fintechs that we have, and then he was saying that recently he just started seeing the importance of software testing, because when he started that business at the time, he was like, oh no, just him and his developers and family and friends were testing the applications, and they weren't really testing or doing anything. And now that the app has grown, it is expanding. They didn't factor in performance testing at that particular time, right? They didn't factor in performance testing because they didn't even think that, the application is going to get this big. I was explaining that, if you had testers at that early stage where you're doing it, they would have, projected this, tried to do performance tests to see if we can actually, handle this. And now they lost a lot of money because the application could not carry the amount of users that they currently have. And then they have to go back, to the drawing board, start getting software testers and doing things that they would have done a lot of time. So just to buttress Jemima's points on, saving us cost and saving money and time. Very, very important. Thank you so much, guys. So just to also get into the business of the day, Sarah is going to also do a demo for us, which I'm sure that we're all waiting for, on how to actually properly report a defect and make sure that we're communicating properly. Sarah. I think Sarah is speaking, but she's muted.
Oh, yes, I was muted. Sorry.
Yes, so your first question with regards to where no requirement documents are shared, and yes, that's very correct. There are times that get into certain organizations and they do not have anything documented, and that's where the point of walkthroughs come in, right? Because of course, you can only try as much as possible to have them go and document those process, but there are times that even the documentation would not suffice, right? It might just be like a one pager for an application that does like so many things, and that's where walkthrough comes in. We have like the business owners or the product owners there. Just get them into a meeting, right? Walk through the application, you ask your questions. And it's very important that, probably before that time, you've probably had access to, stop sharing. You probably had access to the application or whatever it is you're about to test. And you've noted down your questions where you have confusion or where you need clarifications. And during that walkthrough sessions, you're having like, questions, they're asking them to understand what the application is supposed to do, to understand the business flow. And then even that walkthrough, best believe you're still going to have a lot of questions, right? So while you're testing, you're still noting down questions, you're still asking questions, sending them for clarifications, because where there's no documentation, it gives room for a lot of guessing. And to avoid those guesswork that you're doing, you're noting down your questions, you're asking questions to be ensured that you have full understanding of what the application is supposed to do. Right.
Yeah.
And then there are also times where, like in beta test, I don't know if you're in a community where you are getting the application alone, right? And you're not getting documentation. That way, it's just unity test. You're just testing from your own point of view. What do you expect the application to do? It's supposed to be an application that just, maybe transfers money or, buy things online, right? And you're testing, you're saying, oh, this thing is not working as supposed to be. You're not giving a business requirement document. So you're not sure what the process flow is. So at that point, you're just testing to make sure that it is doing what it's supposed to do. They've said this application is supposed to buy stuff online, right? Can I buy the thing online, right? If I try to buy the thing online and I put the wrong password, is it going to work, right? If I'm trying to buy something online and I'm supposed to get a notification, I'm not getting notification. The notification I'm getting, is it showing me the information? Is it showing me what I bought? Is it showing me the amount I got? Is it showing me when I'm supposed to get it delivered? Is it showing me all of those information, right? So those are things that you can also do where there are no documentation, because as testers, it's always very important to think on your feet. However it is. But one thing I also want to point out is the importance of asking questions. Like we cannot overemphasize it. Asking, even when you have documentation, you would ask a lot of questions just to make sure that you have everything documented and you understand it properly. And then I think you also asked about shiplet testing, right? So basically, this is just you bringing in testers at the beginning. So the last example I gave as well can also buttress that point where I was speaking. I don't know if you heard when I was speaking on the CEO was speaking to that didn't have testers at the beginning when he was starting the business, and now that the business is growing and he's trying to bring in testers to do things that would have been done at that beginning. So that just explains the idea of shipless, right? You're bringing in testers from when you have an idea, right? So Sophie wants to create an application that buys books or that opens a library online. When you are thinking about it, when you start documenting it, you're bringing in testers. So the idea is not to wait to when developers started writing code or when you push the products, you're looking for testers. For when you have the things that would most likely lead to a defect later, or from your own experience, you're also noticing and you're saying, oh, I think this flow is better or this process is better. So that's the idea of shiftlets, just bringing in testers at the requirement gathering stage, at the project initiation stage, as opposed to when you started, execution, basically. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you. The last question I have is about the thing of the test managers having to review the bugs. Yes, like I think I can actually relate with having to have the bugs reviewed. But the concern I had when you were talking was that it's two things. Number one, the test manager may eventually begin to spend too much time reviewing bugs and like not being able to have it. The concern that came to mind is, isn't the review process supposed to sort of teach the junior tester or the tester really how to better like the whole thing of the testing? Because I think everybody on the testing ideally should be involved in the design, like in determining what the sprint is about. So I feel like if the testers have to always create bugs and then wait for the test manager to review it, I think it can lead to a waste of effort, because eventually the tester is supposed to learn, supposed to now learn what particular kinds of bugs should be part of this sprint or not.
Okay, so yes, you've said, time wasting is very important. So there's also something called, or there's a process where the test manager, before you even get to the sprint, they've had meetings within themselves, within just the test manager and the tester, right? Yeah. You've had like sessions like this, for example, to teach you what the defect is, the kind of defects you are raising, right? So that even when the tester starts raising defects, the test managers will have some level of confidence to say, oh, I know that Sarah has been working with me for a while. I know the kind of defects Sarah will. Of course, you review it just so that you also understand. And of course, as a test manager, you need to know what is going on in your project, right? So sometimes it might not necessarily be to also review that thing and know if it's a defect. It's so that you're also abreast of what's going on in your project, because anybody in the team can call you and you need to be aware without saying, oh, I need to call the person that raised the defect, or I need to look at this person and try to understand it. Do you understand? So with regards to teaching the testers to understand the kind of defects they are raising, that's why you have like sessions like this. And of course, the test manager, one of the jobs of the test manager is also to make sure that her team or his team, are well abreast and basically they're on top of industry trends and standards, so that whatever it is that's going on, she's sure that they are raising the right amount of defects, basically. You get? I don't know if I answered your question.
So let me
Yes,
add
you
to
did.
that. Let me quickly add to that. So thing is, before a tester reports a bug, you should, even if there's no requirement document, you should have understood the like the function properly. You should have understood the complete function of that feature. So if it's maybe to open a page, you know that this is how you are supposed to open it, but this is what to expect, right? And when the actual result doesn't go like according to your expected results, everybody would understand, everybody would agree rather that that is a bug. So the idea of the review, basically, I mean, the product manager's job is just to organize the whole flow, but you as a tester, you are seeing that the actual result that was specified, right, doesn't match the actual result. So whether the product manager reviews it or not, I think that everybody would agree that that's a bug, right? So yeah, that was just what I wanted to add.
Sorry, Sarah. Now with your response, now I had another objection when you said that before you report a bug, you need to understand the function. I have a reservation. My reservation is that the user may actually not fully understand the product. So I think it's actually a bug in itself that even though I don't fully understand this function now, I am getting some resistance, like, oh, I'm supposed to click on this button, even though if because two ways of looking at it. I may be within the team, I know how the I know how the whole design thing was, I know how it's supposed to work, but I can also have the point of view of the user who has no idea what's happening in the company and just wants to click on a button, even though I know that as part of the company, I'm supposed to be able to click on the button and wait for 5 seconds, but the user doesn't know that. So I feel that you, like, not even if you do not have a full understanding, I feel like precisely by testing, you get a better understanding of the product.
Okay, yeah. So there are some exceptions. There are some exceptions when you are testing. Of course, there's a predefined expected result and actual result of every application, right? But there are some times when you as a tester, even you as a tester, after you've analyzed the document, you still do not get either the expected result or the actual result, or you are confused about a feature, right? There's something called to be discussed. And I think, yeah, that's one of the things that the product manager reviews. And most times, the product manager might have like an answer, a solution to that to be discussed, that bug in to be discussed, right? Or him as well might not know what to do. Then he's going to escalate to maybe the product owner or the client. Do you get? So what I was just trying to say is, ideally, before you start testing, you should have analyzed. And that's one mistake that we as testers do not make. We just collect the application and we start testing without fully understanding, the requirements of that documentation. You get?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. I don't still agree, but I thank you for the explanation.
Okay, yeah, let's continue. Please. So now to the bug reporting life cycle. So like I said, I'm taking the demo bit, but now that we've fully understood what a defect report is and the life cycle of a defect, at least theoretically, we want to go into like a practical demonstration. So here I classified the life cycle into six aspects. Yes. Sorry, I can't see the meet. That's why I didn't see the hand.
Oh, okay.
So please go
I
ahead.
think somebody on TBD.
Maybe you can continue after the presentation. I don't know. Hello?
I think that's Abiola. I think she'd like to make a contribution.
Yes. Who can hear you?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Okay. So where was I? Yeah, I classified the life cycle into 6 aspects here. Just to follow through all the steps, right from spotting the defects to actually closing it. So the first step is discovery, right? You know, Emilia has already walked you through the actual bug reporting life cycle. So this is just like a breakdown, right? Like of the life cycle. So this is the point where discovery point is where we spot the bugs while running the test. And this is usually done by QA testers or maybe app reviews by the users, suggestions and feedbacks from other stakeholders or just anybody, right, that discovers the bug. But most times it's the QA tester, since we're the ones that are the owners of this bug report. The next step is reproduction. So we have to confirm that.
Your screen, sorry.
Sorry?
We can't see your screen.
Oh, I think it might be just you. I can see her screen. She's displaying the bug reporting life cycle.
Okay. I can also.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, reproduction. So after discovering the bug, you have to really confirm that that's actually a bug. And this is just to reduce or stop false positives, I don't know if you guys know what a false positive is, or should I go ahead? Well, a false positive is when a test failed, but there's actually no error. So you reported a bug. You spotted a bug, but it's not actually a bug. It might be caused by network issues, system issues, or not fully understanding the requirements for that function. So that's the reason why you have to reproduce to confirm that that is actually a bug, to avoid documenting something that is not actually a bug, right? So the next step would be documenting, and this is done by the testers. So this is the actual reason why we're here, right? Bug reporting. So the essence of documenting bugs is basically to communicate to every stakeholder in the team, the product manager, the developers, and everybody in your team, to for everybody to or any other person that has access to the report to be able to reproduce it at first glance. So it won't be a best practice for you to document something and they are still calling you to ask that what is the meaning of this bug? Like, can you fully explain this bug? Something like that. Right, so you have to document it properly and clearly for everybody to understand. The next step is the resolution. So after you've documented it and the product manager or anybody assigns this particular bug to either the front end developer or the back end developer or anybody that is supposed to fix it, they pick it up, right? And that is done by, sorry, this is a mistake. This is supposed to be done by the developers, right? The person that actually wrote the code. Right. So after they've fixed the bug, the tester is going to pick it up to just verify that, okay, the bug that I reported has been fixed. Right. Then the next step will just be to repeat, like to do a confirmation test and a regression test. So a confirmation test basically checks whether the bug that you reported has been fixed or not. And if it is not fixed, then just like Emelia said, you have to reopen it. Right, that's part of the bug life cycle. So if it's not fixed, you have to reopen it and it has to start from the process all over again, right? Or if it is confirmed that the bug has been fixed, then you have to do a regression test just to make sure that the software, like this new bug that was fixed, did not affect other functions that were working properly, right? Yeah, I think I've already gone through this, discovering the bugs. You write scenarios, you do exploratory testing, feedback from users just to discover the bugs. You produce bugs to avoid false positives, and yeah, the bugs have to be clear and detailed. So now this is the actual component of the bug. This is where we're going to be starting the demo. So documenting bugs actually help the developers and other stakeholders to analyze and reproduce the bugs. These are some of the components of a comprehensive bug report, right? We have the title, the description, the steps, the expected results, the actual result, the status, and the attachments. Just for, sorry. Yeah. So I want to open a Google Sheet. So we're going to start the demo right away. All right. So I have a test case. I believe everybody here knows how to write a test case. So I don't need to start from the test case again. So in this test case, I have two scenarios here. The first one is launching the app. The second one is verifying that the user can navigate back to the home page. And the third one is verify that user can switch between tabs. So this is the application under test here. I have a demo website here. So okay, let's just start from here. So the first test case here is launching the application, which we just did. Sorry, I didn't say that before we did. We launched, we entered the URL on the Chrome browser and we monitor the screen. And the expected result is that the app should be launched successfully. So going by this, we can say that this test case passed, right? Please, I would like if we can unmute. I want this session to be as interactive as possible, so we can follow each other. Yeah. So yeah, we just launched the application, so I can say that it passed. For lack of time, I'm just going to put what that's expected since it passed. Then the status is of this is passed, right? Yeah. So the second one is we're trying to verify that the user can navigate back to the home page, right? By clicking the logo icon. So let's assume that we are in. Let me look for one page to go to. Okay, let's just assume that we are on the cart page and we want to go back to the home page. That is what this test scenario is asking us to do. So we're confirming that when we click on the logo, it navigates us back to the home page. When I do this, it should take me back to the home page. Yeah, it did. So it took me back. No. Okay, so let's just assume that this failed because it looks like everything is passing, but we're getting an error. So let's just assume that this failed because of this error that we're seeing on top of the page. So I'm going to say this didn't work as expected. Let's just say it throws an error. And what would be the status of this? Like assuming that it throws an error and we're not able to
Fail.
get to the home page.
Failed.
So I'll move it to failed. I'll change the color to red. And the last one is to verify that user can switch between tabs. So on the home page, we have popular and bestsellers here. So we're just basically trying to verify that we can switch between these tabs. So we can see that this pass, right, since we're able to switch between tabs. Yeah. Yeah. Another test case I wanted to add, or maybe we'll do that later, hopefully soon, is I'm trying to find a bug, like a visual bug, a spelling or something. Sorry, my voice is cracky. I'm having kata. So let's go to the defects report now. We have just one bug from here. So the reason why we are like documenting the bug report is because some of the test cases, the actual results were not, corresponding with the expected results. We have to document them. Most times, I know, as if you are and the button directs you to a page, and it doesn't do that, or maybe it just resists and remains on that the home page, then we can say that's a functional error, right? So if it's a visual error, maybe a spelling error, or a spelling error, or something visual about the application, right? Maybe there's, from the design, the Figma design, you see that this model here, this picture is supposed to be wider than this, or it's supposed to take another position and it does not, then that's a visual bug. Then we have performance. If it's not maybe well, you click on something and it takes about 5 seconds to open, or you're not able, maybe you're doing a performance test and the performance test failed, you can now report the like performance bug report, right? Then we also have security tests. Let's say you are able to, sorry, do you have a question?
Yes, please. Do you want to take it now or after your session?
After, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Where was I? Security. Oh, yes. So maybe security could be that, functionally you're able to log in, but you're able to log in with, I don't know, maybe a wrong password. That could be functional too, because you checked that the user should be able to log in with only their valid login credentials, and it could also be a security breach as well, and so many other security breach. Then the test case ID is still basically like highlighting and describing the bug. Sorry, some of these things I just copied this from the project I'm working on. Most times you might not even see this requirement as a bug, but like I said, it's peculiar to the product you are working on. We have the environment which should have been added here. The environment is where you are actually running the application. Is it on Chrome? Is it on Firefox? Is it a mobile test? Everything is going to be on the environment. Yeah, the environment, and the defects in description. This is where you're actually describing what occurred when you are trying to run your test. This is where you describe clearly, right, and in complete details what transpired when you are trying to report the bug. In the test cases, you just put, okay, there was an expected result, and here is the actual result. But in this bug report, you're trying to tell them exactly what happened. Maybe when you clicked on this button, you're expecting to get directed to this page, and you like, you just write it completely so that they understand what what the bug is. Then we have steps to reproduce. This is basically the steps to like first to last in their order of how you actually ran the test. You opened the application, you clicked on this button, you did this, you did that. So that way the developer can quickly follow them to see the bugs for themselves, right? So you're telling them that when they open the page, they should click on this button, they should click on that button to be able to to experience that bugs for themselves. Then the expected results, which is actually the expected result that we got from the test case. Sorry. So this is describing what the software is supposed to do, the function of that feature, that particular feature in a given scenario, right? So developer gets to know the requirements from the expected results. So after they've written their codes, most of them don't even care what's going on, like what's your test. They just want to see that their code is running. So you are telling them that after they've written the code, this is what you are expecting, right? But then the actual results will now tell them what you're expecting. Is it what was the actual result? That's after clicking that button and you're supposed to be routed to a particular page, or after clicking that, maybe submitting a transaction, you want to send money, to somebody, you click on send money. That's after you've entered all the details of your transaction, and you click send, and nothing happens. Maybe the money doesn't go through, or one thing or the other. So that's where you now say, okay, this is what happened when I try to click on this is the actual results, right? And he's going to see that it actually goes against the expected results. Then we have the priority. So this is just saying that saying the extent to which the bug, right, it affects the system. So I have 4 priorities here. Like I said, this is just specular to your project. So we have the low, we have medium, we have high, and we have critical. So this is revealing the extent to which the bug affects the system and how quickly we can resolve it. So in some cases, the developer starts to fix from the critical defect. That's the critical defects are the defects that affect the main functionality of the system. So if the app was supposed to clicking login, supposed to take you into the application, and it does not do that, maybe it takes you to a sign up page or forgot password page, you can say that that's critical because it's not working right in accordance to the function of that particular feature. Then high is almost critical, but maybe it's functioning, it does the function, like it does what it's supposed to do. For I mean, there's one abnormally, right, in performing that function. You can say it's high. Then medium is not so critical, it's not high, it's just in between. Then we can say it's medium. Then low, maybe a spelling error that does not affect the critical functionality of the system. We can say it's low, or something that is not too serious. Then we have date raised there. The day the bug was found, you're going to state it here. Some projects you actually add date raised and date fixed, something like that. Then the status, we have different status, like Emelia said. We have this, it can be open, it can be closed, it can be not a bug, it can be deferred. Like, this is where you're going to put the status of that particular scenario. So we have the screenshot here. It can be screenshot, it can be screen recording. This is the visual representation of that bug. So this one is actually very helpful in the bug reporting process, because we've had cases where you report we report a bug and the developer says things like it's working on my system or what. So to avoid back and forth, to avoid stories that touches, you just do a screen recording or a video and drop. Let him see it for himself. Let's see how he will come and argue that one. Right, so this one is actually very helpful, so they see exactly what's happening, because they have their own test environments. Most of them test on their local host, and when it comes to either the staging environment or sorry, or production, it's not working like they tested it on their local host or their environment. So you're going to put a screenshot, and somebody might ask that this space is too small for a screenshot. That's why we have tools that convert the screenshot to a link, so you can just click it and attach the link. Personally, I use this. I don't know if you can see this box on my screen.
You can see it.
I've not been speaking to myself. Okay.
You can see.
So this is what I personally use to screenshot bugs or recording. Right. This is called MonoSnap. So I'll just, maybe during the demo, I can now show you how to use it. Then we have dev comments. So here, this is just a freestyle. Like, the developer can say, oh, this is not a bug, or this is dependent on this other person. Just whatever idea they have about this particular bug, they can just document it here. In some cases, we have a tester's comment too. So after the developer has dropped his own comment, the tester is going to now respond to that or something. So let's try to transfer a failed test case now to the defect report. So we have this where we try to verify that the user can navigate back to the home page, and we assume that it did not work because the user was supposed to be navigated to the home page, but it throws an error instead, which is failed. So we want to transfer this to the defect report now. So the first one, let's just identify this bug. So yeah, another reason I forgot to mention, this defect ID is very useful when you have multiple bugs here. So maybe during your meeting, you want to refer to a particular bug that has not been fixed or needs to be reviewed, or needs somebody's attention. You can just tell them that, oh, look at test case number 25. Right, so they don't have to now start looking for the defect. They just look at the number and they know what they're talking about. So let's name this test case 01. And can anyone tell me the category of this bug that we reported here? So we're supposed to navigate back to home page, but it threw an error. It did not navigate to the home page. What kind of bug is that, please? Based on these 4 that are here.
Functional.
Okay. Anyone else?
Performance.
Okay, why do you think it's performance?
It's to navigate to the home page, and it's not actually for any function really.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody mentioned performance. I'm asking the person, like, why do you think it's a performance bug?
Okay, hi, I did Adishawa.
Okay.
So it the app is working. So just to go back to the home page, well, like you moved to one other performance, so you go back to other performance. So it's performance. I don't know what else I'm going to explain.
Okay. All right. So I don't agree. Okay, please go ahead. Somebody wants to speak.
Yeah, I think it's
I also
functional
said,
because
okay, I also said it was a performance bug because you are supposed to switch from the home page to another page and it's not switching. So it's like a fluid or something like that. You cannot
Okay.
migrate something.
Okay. So this is actually a functional error.
Yeah.
Because you are supposed to, the expected result is it should navigate user to the home page. This expected result do not specify like we're not expecting the performance, less than 2 minutes or whatever. It's actually telling you that the user should be navigated back to the home page. So that is a function. So that means clicking this button should take me to the home page. Is a function because that's what it's supposed to do. That's what clicking this logo is supposed to do. So if you click it and it takes you somewhere else, or it doesn't take you to the home page as you expected, then that's a functional error. So the person that said functional is right. So I'll just move it to functional here. Then test case ID. This is the test case. What was the test case ID? Test case ID was TCO2. Let me just change this to the defect here. So the test case ID is TCO2. And the requirement is, I will just say homepage, because that's the function that we are testing. Then the environment is a Chrome browser. If you are using Firefox, you specify. If you are using mobile device, you specify. In some cases, the environment, they're asking you, you're doing like a cross-browser testing, you're doing Chrome browser, you're doing Firefox, you're doing Edge, right? So you're going to divide this environment into three to test the three different environments. But in this case, we're testing just from Chrome. So I put the Chrome there. Then the defect description, you're saying that, what was the defect again? When you clicked, I think I should throw the question back to us. Can anybody describe this bug properly for me in a very clear manner? Okay, continue. So we're supposed to navigate user to, clicking that is supposed to navigate user to the home page, but it threw an error. It did not navigate user to the home page, and it threw an error. So we're going to tell them.
Sorry to cut you, Sarah. I think Sophie raised her hand. She wants
Okay,
to.
please go ahead. Sorry, I'm not saying.
No, I think you've already answered. I just wanted to just take a shot at explaining the bug, but I think you've already done that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, so we can say that when the user clicks on the logo icon, the user is directed to an error screen. Then if you want, you can add more details, but just for time,